Japan, America's closest ally in Asia, may be preparing to join BRICS. A year ago, that would have sounded like a wild conspiracy. But today, it is being seriously discussed in Tokyo and reported by respected outlets like the Financial Times and Nikkei. If this move happens, it could change the balance of power in the entire world. Think about what this means. Japan has been the cornerstone of Washington's strategy in the Pacific for decades. US bases, trade deals, security guarantees, all built on the assumption that Tokyo would never turn away. And yet, step by step, pressure is building. The talk of BRICS is no longer a distant rumor. It's a reflection of something deeper, growing cracks in the US-Japan alliance. And the surprising part is where those cracks began, not in Beijing or Moscow, but in Washington itself. At first, it was nothing more than quiet speculation. A few lines in the Japanese press, cautious remarks from lesser-known economists, hints that seemed too small to notice. Then the tone began to shift. Regional analytical bulletins started citing anonymous diplomats in Tokyo, suggesting that Japan was exploring options once thought unimaginable. And soon, the story broke into the open. Leading newspapers across Asia began reporting that Japan was quietly exploring the possibility of joining BRICS. When respected international media from Nikkei to the South China Morning Post confirmed these claims, citing sources within Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, what started as whispers had turned into global headlines. Why does this matter? Because for decades, Japan has been one of the most reliable US allies in Asia, the very foundation of America's Pacific strategy. To see Tokyo even entertain such a possibility signals a dramatic shift in the global landscape. It is no longer dismissed as fantasy, but treated as a political earthquake with worldwide implications. Behind this sudden change lies a series of pressures building over time: economic, diplomatic, and social. Japanese corporations are searching for stability in markets beyond the United States, and political circles are asking questions that would have been taboo just a few years ago. What began as rumor has become a serious debate inside Japan's leadership. And that debate only grew sharper once Washington itself reignited trade tensions, striking directly at the industries that form the heart of Japan's economy. When Donald Trump returned to the White House, he wasted no time reopening old trade battles. In March, he announced sweeping new tariffs on Japanese cars, the pride of Japan's economy and a symbol of its global strength. Honda, Toyota, Nissan, Mazda, brands that together account for nearly 1/3 of Japan's total exports to the United States, suddenly found themselves behind a tariff wall. For a country where the automotive sector makes up almost 20% of manufacturing output, this strike was not just economic pressure, it was a direct hit on national identity. The impact was especially severe in industrial regions like Aichi and Kansai, home to Toyota and Nissan plants. In these areas, tens of thousands of jobs are directly tied to exports to the United States. Before the tariffs, Japanese automakers shipped more than 1.7 million vehicles a year to America. Now it's not just corporate profits at stake, but the livelihoods of entire towns where nearly every family depends on the auto industry. But the shock didn't stop there. Soon after, Washington moved against Japanese electronics and high-tech components, targeting giants like Sony and Panasonic. These companies are the backbone of Japan's reputation for innovation. Then came agriculture. New quotas were placed on Japanese fish and seafood, industries that sustain thousands of coastal communities and form part of Japan's cultural heritage. For northern prefectures like Hokkaido, this was a direct blow. Fishing and seafood processing are the lifeblood of dozens of small port towns. With new quotas cutting orders, communities now face shrinking incomes and the looming threat of mass layoffs. For Tokyo, the message was unmistakable. America first meant Japan last. On Truth Social, Trump declared that even allies should not take advantage of US generosity. In Japan's parliament, members of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party responded with disbelief. If even Japan is not an ally to the US, then what is left? One senior lawmaker reportedly asked. The sense of betrayal cut deep. Japan has stood by Washington for decades, hosting US bases, aligning with American strategy, and accepting trade imbalances as the cost of partnership. Now, after all that loyalty, Tokyo was treated as just another rival. Economists warn that the combined effect of tariffs and quotas could slash Japanese exports to the US by nearly 15% within a year. For an economy that has relied on its trade surplus with America for decades, this shock is nothing short of an earthquake, one whose tremors will be felt across industries and society alike. This shift set off a wave of urgency in Japan's business circles. Corporations began searching for new markets and partners, looking to Asia, not America, for growth. And as economic doors closed in Washington, others quietly began to open elsewhere. This turning point marked the start of a larger realignment, one that Beijing and Moscow were already preparing to exploit. As tensions with Washington deepened, other powers began to move in with precision. In April, according to Bloomberg, a quiet meeting was held in Shanghai. Behind closed doors, Japanese and Chinese representatives discussed what once would have been unthinkable: linking Japan to BRICS trade mechanisms. The agenda covered everything from settling trade in yuan and rubles to creating joint technology clusters, building energy partnerships, and even integrating Japanese banks into the alternative payment systems being developed by BRICS members. At first, the idea was framed as observer status, but soon, insiders suggested full membership was on the table. This opening came at a time when trade flows were already shifting. Japan's exports to China surged by 14% in just 6 months. Sales to India grew by 21%, and shipments to Brazil climbed 18%. With South Africa, Japanese corporations have been negotiating joint projects in platinum and lithium mining, critical resources for the green transition. Even Russia, despite sanctions, has expanded energy supplies to Japan through intermediaries, with contracts increasingly settled in yuan and rupees instead of dollars. Japanese companies are adapting quickly. Mitsubishi has signed a cooperation memorandum with India's Tata Group. Sony is exploring joint production with Chinese partners, while Panasonic recently confirmed its first direct transactions with Brazil in reais. These are not symbolic moves. They are steps toward building long-term networks outside the dollar system. For Tokyo's business elite, the logic is simple. If the US market is unstable, Japan must secure its future in Asia and the global South. And Beijing and Moscow are offering exactly that opportunity. The quiet deals and trial settlements taking shape today point to a deeper transformation tomorrow. Step by step, Japan's economy is learning to function beyond Washington's reach. And every new agreement makes the path toward BRICS integration look less like an experiment and more like a strategic choice. Inside Japan, the debate over BRICS has exposed divisions sharper than anything seen in decades. On one side stand the traditionalists, military leaders, conservatives, and security officials who argue that the US-Japan alliance is the cornerstone of national defense. They warn that drifting too far toward BRICS could weaken the American security umbrella that has protected Japan since World War II. For them, stepping away from Washington means risking both safety and stability in a region dominated by nuclear powers. But the business community and younger generations see the future differently. Japan's corporate elite, facing tariffs and trade restrictions from the US, is increasingly focused on Asia. China and India are now the fastest-growing destinations for Japanese goods, while Southeast Asia has become a hub for investment and supply chains. The numbers back this trend. According to Japan's Ministry of Finance, trade with Asia already accounts for nearly 55% of Japan's total exports. Compared with less than 20% going to the US, the public opinion mirrors this shift. A recent poll by Asahi Shimbun showed trust in the United States falling below 50% for the first time in 30 years. Meanwhile, 62% of respondents said Japan should expand cooperation with Asian countries, especially China and India. Among young Japanese, the tilt is even more striking. Many see China's rapid progress in artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, and green energy as proof that Asia is becoming the center of global innovation. Universities are responding to this mood. Prestigious institutions like the University of Tokyo and Kyoto University are exploring joint programs with Chinese and Indian counterparts, while business schools are already offering courses on BRICS markets and alternative financial systems. This cultural and generational shift marks a turning point. For the first time, Japanese society is leaning openly toward the East, not just out of necessity, but out of belief that its future lies there. And that new mindset is reshaping the choices of both business leaders and policymakers, creating momentum that Washington may find increasingly difficult to reverse. If Japan were to join BRICS, the consequences would ripple far beyond Tokyo. For the United States, it would represent the collapse of a decades-long strategy in Asia. Japan has been the anchor of Washington's Pacific presence, hosting more than 50,000 American troops and serving as the critical link in protecting sea lanes that carry nearly 1/3 of global trade. Losing Japan would mean losing control over some of the world's busiest shipping routes, from the East China Sea to the Strait of Malacca. For the G7, the blow would be even harder. A member of the world's richest democracies shifting toward BRICS would fracture the very image of Western unity. Analysts already call the prospect the most serious shock to the Western alliance since World War II. If a country as advanced and loyal as Japan can walk away, it sets a precedent that others could follow. For China, on the other hand, it would be the greatest diplomatic triumph of the century. Integrating Japan, the world's fourth-largest economy with a GDP of $4 trillion, into BRICS would instantly elevate the group's global weight. BRICS Plus would no longer be seen as only the voice of the global South, but as a true rival to Western power centers. Meanwhile, Washington's warnings ring louder but less effective. Trump has threatened to make Japanese exports worthless if Tokyo turns to BRICS. Yet corporations are already hedging, moving deals into yuan, rupees, and reais. Once supply chains and financial systems adapt, reversing them becomes nearly impossible. The deeper danger for Washington is psychological. For the first time since 1945, Japanese society is openly questioning whether the US is the safest bet. And if that confidence breaks, it will not just reshape Asia's balance. It could signal the end of the Pax Americana itself. Trump's tariffs were meant to protect America, but instead, they may be driving Japan straight into the arms of BRICS. If Washington can push away even its most loyal ally, what does that say about the future of US leadership? And if Japan takes this step, who will follow next? South Korea, Germany, or another cornerstone of the Western order? The map of global power is shifting before our eyes. If you want more deep analysis on how these shifts are rewriting global power, hit like and subscribe. This story is just beginning.